Looks like.
So do you play this differently when we're talking about an aggro deck against Gogeta Xeno and your Cell Surge?
Probably not. You got like two tricks, but you do them really well. So you just kind of make sure that you have the pieces you have. Try to be as consistent as you can be.
Mm-hmm.
There obviously is some ways to play around some things, and I think that Jeremy does have some hate main boarded for a matchup like this, but we'll have to see.
Mm-hmm. This is best of three, of course, so sideboard's going to be hugely key here. You know, bring in Deborah's. Even then, it's like you said, it's very easy for Gogeta's, you know, or to mainboard it, even at that.
And you know, with the Gogeta as well, that's in the unit with the Xeno deck, that does have some hand destruction and board destruction, which Self Surge definitely does feel the anti hand destruction as well. So, but charging a Demigra, looking in top 5, what a good skill.
Yep, and is going first has to be huge for this matchup.
Yes, for sure, for sure. Just means you get that turn earlier for your Unison. You can awaken one turn earlier and feel better about it. It just feels very good. But on the other hand, I think Gogeta's fine with going second just because they get to attack first. So
true.
But yeah, does the cell thing, drop out the Xeno. Does not take the life though. It just takes the draw 1 and then plays another Demigra. So puts a marker on it, and I'm gonna assume he passes from there.
I would imagine. Demigra, very interesting. Something that we've noticed in a lot of national lists that we've been seeing is omitting Demigra actually and going for more of a go big, go long style. Very much only really using the Broly Unison. But Demigra helps you guarantee that you're able to play charismatic villains very early on. So I think against aggro builds, it helps you give you more defensive options. If you run Dormant, it gives you the ability to do that and all that.
For sure. So it looks like he charged to Goku. Did a mail, taking that life because he knows that Jeremy's not going to take his life for him, and going from there. And Jeremy's taking his own life as well. There's the big boy, turn 1. I think he milled at least one more. Is that right?
May have been, yeah.
Yeah. And it does get Friezed, which is not good for him. That is very strong.
Yeah, especially since that's definitely like your strong turn 1 play that you want to go into. You're basically resetting a whole turn and getting a whole free turn 2 at this point.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you have to spend an energy to get the Gogeta out, and you get the max value when you actually swing with it. And since he doesn't see the swing, you just lost a lot of value there. And the interesting thing about the Gogeta leader is that it doesn't mill to the drop area, it mills to the warp, right?
Yeah, exactly. It sets up your fusion plays really well, but it also means that it's a little bit tougher to be able to set up any overwhelms if you're looking to do that during your turn as well.
For sure. And 2 Gogetas down feels pretty good, but using the Goku Ape into the drop.
And this is what Xeno's so good at doing, at just basically using your drop as a second hand.
For sure. Using the Demigra +1. Yeah, just once again doing the one thing that they do well continually and passing from there.
And it really feels like that's all really Cell Surge needs to do. It plays a resource game, and then if it feels like it really starts interacting with your opponent, moving on to its turn 4, that's when it starts. You're doing the chip damage, the poke here, but every time you chip damage, odds are it's probably following with some hand destruction.
For sure.
To make sure that you don't actually get to play with anything.
And another couple mills there.
Yeah, so some very tough mills here for Juan. Really only seeing one Goku, otherwise losing a negate, losing a double strike Kai.
Yeah, that chomp is a big hit, and I don't know if the Unison's big, but we do have one Goku and I believe one Vegeta in there now again, so he does have some potential there. But swing in with leader, taking the draw 1 and taking a life. Oh, he's swinging into the Unison, and he just takes the marker, even though he doesn't have to.
Well, that makes sense. You're against an aggro deck. You want to hedge, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Going into
There we go. All right, we're back.
there we go.
All right. Well, I normally George would be the one to be the hero in chat to say what the plays are, but he was putting it back on. So we're back. So once again, the only thing he used a Gogeta to he tried to Xeno fusion a Gogeta, but he got Frieza again. That's 2 for 2. But looks like he's going to pay another energy to play the Unison. And that Unison says it has Rejuvenate, also Active Main, which doesn't matter because you're not a Demon Realm race. You can't add a marker to it. But -1, your opponent sends 1 battle card from the drop here to the warp, and you place up to 2 Dragon Balls from your deck into your drop here and draw 1. So honestly, this is just, I believe, some hate for the effects to shuffle things back, but we'll see.
Although I will say it's a little bit harder to hate out Gogeta on that front, just because interacting with Warp is so much more difficult than interacting with your drop.
For sure.
All right, and here we see the overwhelm of the Goku.
Yeah, and I could be wrong, but I think he just did that to get enough cards into his drop area to be able to play the Goku. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. I may have miscounted how many he had, but he was
I think he
not a
just
lot.
had 6. Yeah, I think he just had 6, and that's the thing, right? And that's what you're saying about milling to warp. It means that drop setup is a little bit more difficult for the deck.
Definitely like a strong play because outside of the leader swing, he's not really been able to enter the combo phase, which is normally how you get cards to your drop area for free. So. And we're going to the important turn 3. He still has 6 life, which is great. Charging a Rosie, which to me means that he probably has a Dark Broly in hand to play.
Yeah, so Dark Broly being one of the key unisons here for Cell Surge, has the great ability of being able to mitigate board with his +1 as well as rip cards out of your opponent's hand. And then combos really well with the Deborah, where it's kind of like Spirit Boost, but not specific with the keyword, where you get to drop another card out of your opponent's hand. So that's really where the game takes a turn where Cell doesn't have to work incredibly hard at that point because you just rely on your big 20k unison that +2's markers to be getting abilities off. So it's incredibly hard to get to deal with.
Especially just on turn 3. Because we've had like Majin Boos with 4 markers on turn 4, and people are like, man, that's hard to get rid of. Like, talk about 5 markers on turn 3. That's way harder. And my assumption is he's probably going to swing on the leader with Demigra, try to get him down to 5 because the leader awakens at 4, and then try to have a big 20k double strike come in to go from 5 to 3.
I'd have to, yeah, it sounds about right. I'll take your word on the sequencing on this one, just because you have definitely played significantly more Cell Surge than I have.
Yes, just a couple more games. Oh, playing a Dark Mass Sand, so it looks like he is not going into the Dark Broly this turn.
Okay, BMS here, they're mostly established board. I don't know if Xeno Gogeta plays too many cards. Like if you play the 1-drops from skills, yeah, I think at that point we could be proccing BMS. But generally, I think BMS not really being too much of an issue here for Gogeta Xeno to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, even just that Gogeta he played last turn was a 16k, so it'd get around it. I can't think of really any card in the deck that is a 15k or lower. That plays for free. Because even like the Kais of Time, those are counterattacks, so those are keyword skills, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so those don't proc off.
But Jeremy obviously does not. I don't think they don't have privy to each other's deck list, correct?
They do not. I do not believe they have
Okay.
access.
Okay, yeah, because normally for top cuts, they do have that info, but since this is kind of the qualifying rounds, they do not.
Mm-hmm. All right, and here we go into another Gogeta.
All right, Frieza number 3.
Well, this one actually a little bit harder. This is Marvelous Might. So this is the SPR that has Barrier.
Okay, yes, it does have Barrier. Also has a active main for 1 black. You can place this card to the bottom of your deck, play up to 1 Son Goku Xeno, any cost of 1, up to 1 Gogeta Xeno with any cost of 1 for your deck or drop Barrier. So this would need to get rid of the Black Mass Saiyan to get full value from this too, but we'll see if there's a way to do that.
Yeah, I think this is pretty much the only card that would force Juan to have to deal with the BMS.
But I think Jeremy saw that, like, you know what, he's played the other 2 Unisons, and he's playing another one. Wow.
And that's what this deck does so incredibly well, is that for 1 energy you're able to get out these massive bodies, and it has this cross synergy where they're going to drop. So by Union Fusioning, you're actually cycling cards back into your drop to be able to overwhelm and keep pushing your aggression, and then you can start playing some massive beaters like Demigra or anything other than the sword.
And again, playing the Unison just to, 1, I guess, shuffle the deck, but 2, seemingly just get 1 more card in there. So did he actually play it though? Maybe I saw the wrong sequence. Maybe just put it into the drop area. Because he didn't pay the energy for it. All right, charging a Rebrian, which means there's at least another one in hand, probably.
Yeah. Well, BMS here does do duty where it actually could help him, could help Jeremy self-awaken if Juan wants to play this slow game of preventing Cell Surge from being able to use his abilities. So there's definitely a route that Jeremy has access to if Juan wants to play that slower game as well.
For sure. Yeah, but he's at 6 right now, and if he presses him down to 5, we know that even if it's not this Black Mass Saiyan, there could be another one in hand that he could play to get into that awakening. But the other thing is that Surge Cell can awaken whenever you want. He can awaken right now if he wants to. He shouldn't, but he could. And
right.
The only thing that you're locked out of is having that 4. But also that Cell Surge that he just dropped, or not Cell Surge, Cell he dropped, can take a life too if he wants to get down to that, which looks like he is. So I think this is going to be a huge turn for Jeremy.
The awakened turn always super explosive. It's usually the turn where we see the most hand rips because you have the access to most energy. And your card quality is just so incredibly high because you've been spending 4 or 5 turns, sculpting out.
For sure. So yeah, it looks like he is swinging with the Black Mass Saiyan. Taking the 5th life, going down to 4. And going down to 4 himself.
All right. So we're at parity.
Swing in with the Frieza. So these 10k swings are going to do nothing on the away. So just trying to force him to awaken. So untap 1, draw 1. And for most black decks, they really don't have like a lot of good usage for their energy on the other opponent's turn. So you definitely want to kind of force it on your opponent's turn for that awaken.
Yeah, that's like you always want to apply pressure, especially these unawakened. And it's kind of funny how the dichotomy is switched, where I think draw leaders were what we started the game with, and then untap leaders were the uncontested best. And now you definitely have this balance where like there's play around both of them. A draw awaken leader, you don't care. An energy awaken leader, you definitely want to be able to mitigate how much energy they have access to on their own turn. So.
And we saw Juan discard the Supreme Kai of Time for combo, which is great to have in your drop area. Or actually, it has to be in reward. Never mind. There's so many. I don't play this deck as often. I play Cell Surge. I should probably shut my mouth. But there's that big Broly play we're talking about.
Yes, sir. The big beefy 20k unison with a +2 effect, which not just the fact that it is a high marker unison, but being a 20k makes it so much harder. Now, Gogeta is one of the better decks to deal with it. Don't get me wrong, but generally speaking, definitely a hard card to be able to deal with.
Yeah. So now he discarded the Goku, or not discard. He put the Goku in play for the counterattack, which just means that the Broly now has a target to pop with its +2 effect, using the Bora from hand to pretty much get a free +1. Discarding the Bora, getting the ball, losing a marker from Broly, which causes his opponent to discard 1.
And the ball also being a green card.
Yeah, why not? Like, it's just on color, on brand, everything. And it's a combo piece, worst case. Some would say it's a better than combo piece because it gives you the +5.
True. Gets around some interesting effects that prevent you from comboing.
So discarding the Bardock Ape, which is kind of like a mini version of the Goku Ape, even though it's twice expensive. The actual effect cost is just 1 to draw 1, which is nice.
It's definitely helpful to be able to, in some situations cycle, and in some situations gain back the card if you had to pitch it earlier. Also, it's just Cell Surge being a multicolor deck surprisingly doesn't run that much yellow. So whatever we can hedge to be able to gain hand advantage from having to put yellow in our deck is always helpful.
For sure. And going for the Surge Awaken, looks like one of them was the Cell. I don't recognize the other card immediately.
It was a ape, I believe.
Okay, cool. So both those cards are fantastic, and one of the best things about the Cell Surge is that there is drop area, hate, but you can keep them in there, and then whenever you want to use your effects, you're able to pop them from your leader, use your leader skill, and then from there put them into your drop area. And using the Toa, so it gets the boost on the leader, now 20k leader, and forcing a drop as well. Yeah, now he's asking how many cards he left. Well, like, that's the continual question. Like, have like a E10, like, just slowly number it down. And dropping a Koitz, which is normally a pretty good card to have in that drop area.
I will say one of the benefits that running the SR in this version of the deck for Juan is that its aggro extends incredibly well because your 20k Gogeta transforms into 2 potential 15k swings. So the aggression extends way wider than typical, which I think could be one of the advantages, especially seeing as Jeremy is not running Dormant. So
interesting. Well, he can't run Dormant, so that's
mono green. Yeah, exactly. But no floodgate in general.
yes.
Majin Buu, right, would be, I guess, the tech that people would be running.
For sure, and we do see a shocking death ball, but nothing crazy as a floodgate for that. But I think Cell itself is a floodgate, right? Because
True.
He does have 2 cards. Assumedly, the unisons in Juan's deck are not like attacking unisons, so it kind of gets around that. So he really only has 3 swings next turn, which is pretty good for this amount of life you have, the amount of advantage, and in general, Juan's deck wants to play things multiple times. So charging a Trunks. Yeah, it looks like definitely want to swing to Black Mass Saiyan. You definitely, even if you can't get immediate value from them, you do want to be able to play your dudes this turn.
Yep, this is definitely one of the turns where you want to start pressuring because while Cell can be incredibly good at ripping out your hand, it's a deck that can look to start fizzling out when you're getting into turns 6, 7 potentially. So you want to make sure that when you have the possibility to, you want to press your plays and you want to mitigate how much Jeremy will be able to do.
For sure. And this is one of the really cool things because this is worlds. Both these players are from different parts of the world. They both assumedly talk different languages, but they're still able to play this game, and I think that's really really cool.
Yeah, I mean the expressive art on the cards definitely lend
Mm.
themselves to being very iconic. And
Ooh.
while we're talking about iconic cards, here is the Kabito Absorbed SCR.
So what that boy does is he plays for two. He could Spirit Boost, but his opponent doesn't have a Unison. But the active main is plays card from your hand. Your opponent can attack with battle cards for the turn.
Yep, a very strong floodgate. We're starting to see those more and more in every color. Pan, of course, being one of the big ones that was played out during the national circuit.
And I'm would assume that's one of the SCRs that Juan could be playing today. So, but yeah, I mean, stopping him from entering the battle phase for the rest of the turn, essentially, right? Because he can't swing with the leader anymore, can't swing with battle cards anymore, and I guess, and I don't think those unisons can swing either. So, but also you just have a 40k double striker on the board who's ready to act, next turn.
Mm-hmm. All right, we got players just verifying what cards go where.
Yeah, because he was able to warp a card from the drop area with that unison. So maybe I'm looking at it wrong. Is he playing it for 0? Or what's going on? Because isn't he? It looks like he isn't tapping energy for it. Or maybe I just missed it.
Yeah, could be because he is paying 1 energy for it.
Okay, he did pay it for it this time. Okay,
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, so we just keep, he does play some more boys, which they do get played in rest mode. However, that's not terrible because you're still building a board, and now all these guys can swing next turn too. So there's some
Yeah.
merit for it.
Yeah, there is the fact that it's a scary, there's a big scary double striker on board, but it's once Juan's actually gonna be able to play his battle cards and they'll come in active mode. Removing them isn't the biggest threat, and I can imagine here there's probably a negate waiting for this double strike swing.
Correct, which is good, but it also means that you get to. So I don't know how this interaction works.
It just goes.
Okay, but will it come back?
It does not.
It does not. Okay, because it's removed from game, right?
It's a replacement effect. That is correct.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Anyways, but that does give a target for Broly to pop, gain some advantage. It does look like Juan does have a pretty healthy hand with about 10 cards, unless he's double sleeving, then maybe 4 cards. No, he definitely looks like he has 10. Yeah, using the Bora again, getting some extra card advantage. And yeah, once again, we do have just so much energy to use. And a reminder, this is just the first match of the day. We are streaming every match in these qualifiers between today and tomorrow. So you guys have missed literally nothing if you're just stopping here today, and we'll keep you updated in between rounds of how everyone's doing. But every match from this qualifier will be streamed over the next 36 hours or so.
Yep, this is a group stage qualifier, and the top 2 from the 2 groups that we have amongst the 8 players participating will be moving on to the finals bracket next week.
For sure. Yeah, so here's the thing though with Cell Search, you get like a bunch of advantage, but it's hard for you to have. I mean, the Broly Unison is great. Don't get me wrong, and the Boo Unison would have been great, but you don't have just a lot of ways to really pressure your opponent. Yeah, doing the combo there.
You're in a position where I think you want to swing in with the chip damage because 3 is very dangerous, and I think this Rosie's going to do a phenomenal job of that.
That Rosie is a strong lady for sure. Discard 2, a Super Kamehameha, and yeah, the PyCon Unison. this Rosie definitely just contradicts exactly what I said. The other thing that is good against this matchup for Self Surge is that you don't have to be too afraid of cards existing in the combo step to pop your guys.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but okay. Here's where it gets interesting. So the attack is negated, and now he has to mill every time, which isn't terrible.
I mean, you
Especially, like,
could
if you
get
get a Ribrianne
yeah, you
or-
get Ribrianne or Jar Apes or anything, so it could give more resources, right? And I think this is where a lot of players tend to just pass, because if the game goes long, you're basically reducing your clock by multiple turns every swing. So
Yeah, and Jeremy's just gonna have to think like, all right, am I going to lose next turn, right? Do I decide to go whole out? And this is where, if he decides to pop the card and a card from hand, then to me he says, all right, I can't win, I can't survive next turn, and we'll see. But it looks like he's deciding that he can, and that he will just tap out. His opponent has 5 swings coming in next turn, and that is that. I don't know. I would have pressured the Gogetas a little bit. You got 2 more swings with that Rosie. Oh, it looks like he is. Okay. Because you can swing, you can combo the Frieza, and then restand, and then combo something else. But it's card destruction that way, which is pretty good.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a balancing act. How much do you mitigate board? How much do you mitigate leader?
There goes 2 super combos. Yuck.
That feels good.
That is not what you want. And
Yeah.
It looks like Jeremy has like 4, I'll say no more than 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
He's
8,
got
9, 10, 11, 12, 13. All right. So he could still do these 2 more swings with Rosie and still have a pretty healthy deck, assuming that his opponent doesn't have another one of these Oceanus Cineron. Is that the lady's name?
Oceanus. Yes, that is Oceanus.
Yeah. And
Um,
so doesn't you normally draw after you awaken either, but
no, and that's it, right? Like, it's one of those, if you can get a good hand size early on in the game, you mitigate a lot of the hand destruction, and then Seltzer kind of starts to teeter off. Now, you do have the fantastic unison that he has on board that helps mitigate that, but it's definitely a much tighter position now, and Juan having still a board there, just chilling and able to apply pressure, is going to make it difficult for him.
Yeah, I think what's going to make it really difficult, if he has another Oceanus, then it's going to be a real uphill climb for him.
Yeah, we're looking at 2 main deck, and 1 sideboard, so it's definitely a potential.
Yeah, Seltzer's pretty much has like 2 turns with its surge ability to try to do some damage, and if you can prevent both those turns from going off, then you're in trouble. Shoutouts to getting topoed twice and being like, well, both turns I only have like 5 cards in hand, so and now I'm out of surge abilities. Yeah, and that Goku, he adds a card from your drop area, right?
Yeah, so whatever gets warped, you can like add something back.
And assumedly he gets another Oceanus, which is quite good.
And here's Charismatic, but it'll only be able to hit the 6 drop. All the others have barrier.
Yeah. Now, both players don't have a lot of cards in hand, or in their deck too. That's something to know. And the Xeno doesn't have a way to cycle them back either. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 to, I believe it was 13 cards left in deck.
Though Gogeta Xeno does have ways to throw some stuff back, which is kind of nice. You have the Kai there. The Pycon can do similar.
Yes, for sure. Well, maybe that's the piece I'm missing. So he can use it with. Okay, yeah. So he plays the mark. The Kai is what's playing it for free, and then you use the Unison. You use the -1, so he just gets rid of a, I don't know, Paragus or something. He doesn't have any hits in there right now, but that's some good value. looks like they're just passing turn.
And now Cell's in a position where, not too many cards in hand, has a semi okay board, but no longer has the safety of the leader skills.
For sure. No safety from that. Only has like 6 cards in that hand. Are they charging another energy? I guess so. You could
Going to
triple
6.
Rebrienne if you want. That would be big. No doubt that the first swing would be the Oceanus if he did add that back to hand.
And we know he doesn't have too many super combos in hand, but he does have a Rosie.
Another Rosie does feel pretty good. Discarding. Yeah.
Yeah, and even though it might not be direct hand destruction, also now every swing is basically hand destruction for Jeremy here because, Juan definitely doesn't want to go to 2.
But there's that ocean, and we'll have to see. I mean, I think he's got 3 swings max before he decks out.
His third swing would be the deck out.
Okay, so using the Broly effect to pop the ocean. You don't want the Goku Ape, you want that Rebrienne, baby. That's so much more value for you. Because he's got what, 1, 2, 3 cards in hand?
Yeah.
That'd feel pretty good, because then you could swing in with the Broly and feel somewhat confident. I don't know, if he can just loop the oceans, then I feel like he's got it anyways. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, so he can only swing twice this turn.
So it's like once. So here's the thing: if he wants to do it now, his first swing needs to deal damage, and then it's the Broly swing, and then that needs to do damage. And that's assuming that Juan didn't keep a negate in hand.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, so now you just have to, I don't know, assuming one of those is a Paragus, will just for sure make it 2 swings this turn. But yeah, swing with this first, see if you can do enough damage. On board, you have 30k combo and only 4 cards in hand. Woof. But I think there's negate. Oh my gosh.
Yep, there we go.
That is going to be huge.
Get rid of the Rosie. And there's your Mills.
A Rebrienne though. That is power.
Ribrienne would empty his hand out, but he doesn't have enough attacks now. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly 8. Yeah.
So he could swing it now, but it wouldn't be enough lethal. And on the mill out on his second swing, that would be turned. So you might just be in a position where like you Ribrienne, no hand, and then you have 1 card. But like Juan has such a good board right now, and every single one of those Gogetas represent 3 attacks because for 1 energy they put in a Goku and a Vegeta.
Yeah, and the other thing too is that if he could have Rebrienned, because you have to discard a card for the ocean, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's, I don't know. The other thing is, even if you had like a Black Mass Saiyan, he has no cards to discard. So he's like, yeah, sure, I'll discard no cards. I'll still play all my boys. So it's gonna be very tough.
Yeah, especially since you can also, if he draws into like a Martial Melee, you can just fusion from your warp, so it's not like you need them in hand anyhow.
But we will see. He does have quite a bit of life. Not a lot of cards. Yeah, these are 20k boys, so you do need to like block with 2.
Rosie does come back. That is true from the kind of gate. So it's another 5k combo.
It's not played though, right? You don't get.
It doesn't count as play. Yeah, it's played with its skills negated.
Yes, gotcha. Okay, just making sure. And there goes the Paragus. Man, this if you still had the Boo Unison, this would be the turn to play it for sure. I think he was a little bit greedy with it, and I think you could see that his opponent got the Kai last turn because I think he cycled it with the Gogeta or Goku Xeno or SS4 Goku. So, but swing number 2 there. He could have a shocking death ball in hand too. That would definitely stop an attack and pop two of these, Goku and Vegeta boys as well.
Mm-hmm. Although he could also get the ones that punish you instead. So, you gotta, it's kind of careful.
Yeah.
There's a lot of options when we're talking Gokus and Vegetas in terms of being able to deal with things.
Yeah, they've printed a couple of those boys.
All right, and here we see Jeremy going down to 3.
Yeah. I think he's just talking about which cards are in dropper because he might try to cycle another Deborah, or not Deborah, Black Smoke Dragon. Five cards left in his deck.
We'll draw one here from the swing, and then have a 2-card hand, 4 energy. I imagine he'd have a couple of plays lined up.
Yeah. And we did see a mill of a Champa earlier. We don't know if he has more than one, but...
All right, and now Jeremy's board is completely comboed out. We just have the Broly in there.
Yeah, there's the Black Smoke Dragon. I would say one of the worst. The big thing here too is that he knows that the Kai was to the bottom, but he can just get a free shuffle of the deck to put the Kai somewhat higher, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, probably hitting. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, there's not a lot of hits in there. Except for maybe like draw ace, but he knows he's not going to play him, so.
Pretty much. And there we go. We're seeing the back into deck we go. And now we're going to start getting those Gokus and Vegetas out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he's playing both these guys can add a card from life to hand to get plus 10k power. Goku, you have to drop a card if you use a counter skill, and the Vegeta is if your leader is a Black Saiyan card. When your opponent switches their energy activated with a non-awakened skill, they choose one card in their hand, send it to the warp. That one's probably not going to happen.
I don't think so. I don't think we're looking at that kind of color matchup for this game.
Correct. But yeah, here's a 15k Goku. Here's the thing. We know that, I guess, I don't know, he's got 3 cards in hand, right? So you kind of have to assume that maybe one is like a double strike Gogeta, but the other thing is that, another one of these Gogetas can pop for more combo power, which is really, really strong.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, each one can cost you 1 energy to basically equate to 10k combo.
Yes. Though he does not have much life. He can only have like one more gain the boost for the 15k. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Swing with the Kai, which is only a 5k.
All right, Kai Vegeta. It's a very precarious position on both ends. Because this is a very deep resource management game. They're both playing with like barely any cards, couple to 3 at best, and
he's taking the 1.
So is that representing a double strike maybe, or?
Definitely could. And so I think maybe part of the reason he did that was maybe he didn't have Vegetas to play. Maybe he needed a combo to get them there. I'm not really sure. But it looks like he is paying the 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks like the case.
Now you're in a tough position where it's like, you really would, if you had it, want to go with the double strike swing just because it equates to 1 less card that Jeremy will have to play with defensively. But it's such a tough position if you just don't have it, and now you just kind of have to. I think no matter what, if you're Juan here, you just got to make something happen.
All right, and then using the leader ability, so add 1 card from your life to your hand, choose up to 2 of your black battle cards at a cost of 1 that get plus 10k power until the end of your opponent's next turn. So he's down to 1.
All right, and there's the Overwhelm. So now we have a 30k Vegeta on board as well. Forcing a pitch out of the hand, and there goes the Champa.
Yep, and he's able to get 1 more free draw. And I'm going with the Pycon instead.
Yeah, the Pycon having a great ability of being able to boost your board as well. So these are going to be very chunky boys.
Yes. Yeah, so they are both 25k and then a 30k. Now, if he's got a Shocking Death Ball in hand, he's feeling good. Because you can Shocking Death Ball, stop the attack, pop the 1-drop, and then he's only got 1 more swing left. I guess he's got 2. He's got the 30k and a 5k.
Yeah, but the negate will cost you a card in hand.
Yeah, but yes. I can't deny. All right, taking the 1. Oh man. Okay, no Shocking Death Ball still. Oh, here's the thing too, right? Looks like he's going up to 35. Ooh, sell.
Oh, there's the Kamehameha.
So that gets up to, yeah, he's got to get rid of.
Oh,
okay.
Well, you weren't going to use that anyways.
And 2 cards in hand. He needs to have a super combo and a 5k combo to get out of this, which we know he milled 2 and he's used 1 super combo.
And that's game. Juan
Super close.
Soto taking game 1. Reminder, guys, this is a best of 3, so it's not over yet. The players will be sideboarding now and prepping up for the matchup.
And that was super close. It really did come down to about 5 to 10k amount of combo, if I read that right.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it came down to essentially the last card. But that's what these SP, the SR/SPR Gogeta does so well, is that it represents so many attacks. So especially it actually works out really well in a matchup like this because it's got barrier, so it's not being dealt with charismatic villain. It's not really going to get touched by any of the skills that Jeremy has. And then on top of that, it represents 3 attacks when you have no hand. So I think a very good pick specific to this matchup.
Yeah, so if you were the Gogeta Xeno player, because I can't be that player, what would you sign up? What's on your radar for cards for this matchup?
Anything. So, I think the way that Juan played it out here was exactly what you want to do. And I think when you're looking at what to bring in, you want to do things that push on that, hey, I'm going to gain early advantage and mitigate any hand destruction you have. So Deborah's, I think, easy Tekken, especially since the way that Juan played it, he really wasn't doing anything on his first 3-4 turns. He started really playing the game out on turns 4 and 5 after Cell had committed to the Awakening and everything. So anything to get those early advantages, I think, are going to be the biggest thing. Anything that are like counterplay heavy, I think you just kind of get rid of. They don't really interact much with what Jeremy's doing here. Fu Shrouded could be a card if you feel confident in your ability to get to turn 6. Your drop could very safely get there, and then Fu Shrouded would be able to basically close out the game.
For sure.
Oceanus.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say from the self-surge side, you want something that can definitely either interact or mitigate that Oceanus that seemed to do a lot of work for this matchup. Additionally, something like a harder negate, and it could just be timing your Majin Buu a little bit better. But yeah, if there are any of those Majin Majin counterplays, that would definitely be on my mind for cards to put in.
Yeah, I think Unexpected Turn could maybe make a showing here. If Juan commits to going for a super wide board like he just did there, you could get rid of all the weenies for a very cheap cost. That could be something that he could go for.
Would What a ruling nightmare card. It took a lot of people to. I still have to read it every time. Be like, is this the right application for this? I can't.
Yeah,
remember.
they have 3 cards on board, and I'm going to play my 4th, and some mishmash of that kind of situation equates to some kind of a board wipe, and.
Mm-hmm. But definitely, I would say a fantastic first game of the day. Both these players obviously deserve to be here, playing very, very well and very, very strong.
Yep, exactly, playing it out. I do think that's to be expected. Gogeta, it's still favored, but I think it came down to 5K. So I think both players here showing that like the resource game was highly important and definitely putting themselves in a position to be like it honestly could have went either way. If Jeremy drew his super combo instead of milling out 2, like that was basically the difference maker here.
For sure. And I could be wrong. I don't think I saw many super combos from Juan either. So, it could go either way for sure.
Oh, it can. One, if the Chompa's in hand instead of milled out, super combos, it could have gone either way. It's so very much tech clutch game. So now just to see if the pendulum will swing over to Jeremy's side as he goes first in this game too.
So charging the other unison, he started first game with charging the Demi, so he's charging the Broly for that strength. Looking top 5, and let's see if he has a good pitch target. And something else is that he had some really well-timed charismatic Friezas for those Gogeta promos, but if he doesn't have those this next turn, it could be a huge difference. That does a lot of damage. It does card destruction, and the worst kind of card destruction for this deck, it puts it in the warp, not the drop area where you'd like your cards to be anyways.
Right. Is that weird, dealing of all the different zones and try to how do you mitigate all of that at best?
All right. Well, he charged 1, so maybe he's not.
He's not too worried about it.
He's like, you know what? I see a Demigod over there. I've seen this before. Let's not pay 1 to lose a card.
So, seeing with how slow Juan was rolling at game 1, is there a reason to maybe start taking life instead of the markers, or we still continue on with just taking markers from our Demigod unison?
I don't know. It was impactful that you did have to swing with the black power, or the dark power black Massaian, where you just let him swing into it, right? And that going away was huge. I think he won another one field to prevent some stuff. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, put the Rebrian and then use the Unison to get rid of the Rebrian. That's a really good hit.
Yeah, that's 2 more cards you're gonna get to keep in hand.
And you get to draw 1 for doing it. I think one's not falling for the same mistake twice.
Yeah.
Or at least not mistake, but playing into the same play twice.
Yeah, and the cute thing is here's that the tech against, like, this definitely feels like it's a main board that's teched out very well against this specific matchup. But it lends itself well to other matchups too, right? Like, it's not one of those main board techs where they're completely useless against other decks. And at worst they just cycle. So I think it's definitely a very interesting position to be in for Juan here to be able to main deck this and hopefully mitigate what the rest of the field may be bringing today.
For sure. And they did just charge the Frieza, so we know he had it in hand. So it's just like, well, okay, you're not playing any Gogetas, I guess.
Yeah, I guess if they don't have barrier, they're not hitting the board.
Yeah, we're on this stage of mind games where we won't play into that, but dropping the Goku to draw 2, and I believe probably another pass after that, after upticking the Demi.
Yeah, I would imagine, let's not give Juan any cards in hand for free. Let's make sure that both you and I are working for it. Or, yeah, okay. Yeah, and here's the pass.
No, Jeremy is, he is going first again. So that is, I think, the play you want for this deck, especially since you still get your card advantage during your first turn, which not a lot of decks do. I'd say most leaders that go from good to great can generate board advantage or card advantage on turn without swinging, and I think Cell Surge is one of those leaders.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, yeah, you put a card, you drop a card whenever you use his ability to cycle through, but the card quality is so good that it might as well equate to it, especially when we're talking colors that use the drop as their second hand.
For sure. But that Black Smoke Dragon pretty much equated to a, draw one, make your opponent discard one is pretty
Pretty
nasty.
good.
So he is going into the Gogeta. He saw the Frieza charge, so maybe he's feeling confident.
Yep, and that's the mind games that we're going to see. At these high levels, it's how much can I bait, can I force, and no.
All right.
All right, not able to bait out strong enough, having the second one there. But that's the type of mind games that we're going to see at these high levels. It's both players understand each other's deck so incredibly well that it's just how can I force certain situations to be in my favor? How can I play around things? And there's way more mind games that come at this high level of play because both players completely understand what each other are doing.
For sure. And I gotta say, I love those SPRs of those Friezas. I don't buy like a lot of product, but I pulled like 3 of them, and so I'm like, okay, fine. This would be one of the cards that I get the full arts. And if he was playing the regular arts, I'd have to like squint and be like, oh yeah, shoot, that's charismatic. I forgot what that looks like. Okay, and the charge for this turn is a ball, which is fine. Probably as long as you got another one in the deck to search with the Deborah, I think you're in a good spot.
So pretty similar to how we saw it in game 1 here.
Only one Frieza this time, though.
Yeah. But I imagine at any point in time here, a Deborah may make a showing and punching this line. But hey, Ribria, I mean, so now Jeremy's in a position where like he has to commit to this Ribria now, or else he might lose it to a Black Smoke.
Yeah, that's kind of the danger that you're in now, that you have to pretty much use the cards you discard immediately, which is fine. You can play around it, and there are ways to do it, but you do have to consciously think, okay, the cards in there aren't safe, and I have to make sure to put them there when I need to use them.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like, yeah, Jeremy has not seen any of the Cell Xenos, which is pretty impactful as well. You do want that extra draw and extra cycle, and they're just not seeing it. They're a lot more powerful turns 1, 2, 3 than 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, especially since that early, like that's what I think this game really equates to. How much advantage can both decks force out of each other's hands, either draw or hand destruct, or either way, in the first 3 turns. So it's almost like the song and dance where you have the intro, and I think the first 3 turns are kind of setting everything up, and then the game really kicks off turns 4 onwards, and that's when we see both decks really try and see, can I close this out? Can I push through? Did we play the first 3 turns correctly to, go out and dance out these next couple of turns?
Looks like he tried to do the fusion and either took it back or didn't have the materials in it in the warp. Okay, and he just took the damage off the Demi. All right, that will probably get him the pieces he needs. So once again, that Vegeta just overwhelmed for 6, and then your opponent sends 1 card from their hand to the warp, which is a super duper discard for this matchup, discarding a Deborah. And just a 30k swing. My assumption is he'll take this.
I have to imagine, yeah. You're getting into the turns where he's going to want to look to awaken, especially if he's having trouble finding the Cell Xenos to be able to do his cycling, or Black Mass Saiyans, even if he's kept those in the main board. Then he's going to have to start putting himself in a position to be able to get his big turn 4, turn 5.
Yeah, and there's the Goku and Vegeta he's looking for that union, so... And then another 20k swing. And by another, I mean the first. Oh, he's going down to 1. Interesting. I think he kind of knows that. I don't think his opponent can do another unison this turn. Or not unison, another... of the Union Fusions this turn, so just using the Demigrid to get an extra card draw.
Mm-hmm.
Which is such a wacky mechanic. It looks like he doesn't have a lot of cards left in deck too. Probably maybe somewhere between 15 and 20.
Yeah, I would say not 20, give or take. All right, and then calling it back over to Jeremy with 2 energy up. Which now could be representing Deborah's, so you have to be so much more careful now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Doing the uptick, using the leader ability. Yeah, definitely. I would say Jeremy doesn't look as confident as he did the first game. I'd say I think he's slowed down a little bit, thinking a little bit more. I don't know if he's finding the pieces he necessarily wants. He did find the Boros and the Friezas, but I'm not sure if he's found much gas since then.
Yeah, like I don't think we're seeing, you know, a D-Bro unison this turn. He hasn't seen the Xeno that he needs. So his first couple of turns, which were the setup turns, were kind of a little lackluster, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas generally, like Juan just has because of the deck he's playing, he just has the ability to keep playing this in game plan. Eventually get out more of these barrier boys that are going to be hard for Jeremy to deal with, and then maybe just see you know, a repeat of what we saw last time. Plus here, you know, Juan being able to snipe out that Ribrianne means that he's seeing 2 more cards in hand than he probably would have if it wasn't for warping it away. So
yeah, and he's making some swings, which is just honestly filling the drop here with better cards for Juan. Taking him down to 4, and I don't know, that seems like a lot of work just to do 1 damage, which he could have awakened anyways, but maybe it's just to prevent him from using more with his life there. And a strong pass with 2, which, I mean, you can use the Majin Buu next turn if you need to, but I think he's going to be a little bit more patient with it this game.
all right, so we did bring in the Koitskais, not just 1 but multiple. Maybe here in response to if Jeremy could be playing the counter Buu or the counter Buu.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, that's looks like what he's doing. Yeah, let's actually remove that from play. Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
I understand why. However, I think it'd be easier for everyone just to put it underneath that leader for remove from game. All right, and 20k swing. Where would you put this? Maybe the Frieza? Oh,
that lead. I think we're getting to a point now where, you know, Juan's been able to mitigate. I would imagine he probably has a Deborah in hand or something. So he's in a position now where I think you feel comfortable enough actually going in to apply pressure, because now we're getting into those later turns where Cell has a harder time. You know, the more energy opponents have, the more they can do on their turns, which means the more they can do to counteract your hand destruction if you aren't able to kill them that turn.
Sure.
So I think that might be the position. Plus, like, this is a turn 4 where Juan isn't under the resting ability of Cell. So a turn 4 where you can actually apply a lot of pressure and you might not actually be in a position of dying anytime soon is probably a good spot to be in.
Yeah, and the other thing to think about too is that Koitz also stops more freezers from coming down too, so he couldn't use the freezer to stop this Gogeta, which is nice. Yeah, just going down to 4. Yeah, and Cell Surge is 100% a leader that you want to awaken on your turn. You get to use your top 5, you get the untap 2, draw 2, and just the extension of your plays. Maybe using more cards to discard with 3 branches, a bunch of things.
They both have really big hands, though.
Yeah, they really do. Yeah.
This is definitely one of the more jarring Cell Surge matchups I've ever seen, just because I mean both are playing with such massive hands. So we're gonna see if they're both gonna be in a position where this is gonna pan out like more of a traditional game instead of a Cell Surge game, where maybe we just kind of start poking in and combat's gonna be where most of the hand destruction is gonna happen.
Yeah, and going down to 4 is huge because it does turn on that Paragus as well. You do need to be at 4 or less life for it. So that does help it, and he being able to resolve a super combo this turn is pretty good. He does get the big boy unison, or not unison, union. Oh, there's just like unison and union are like one letter away.
Oh, I got them mixed up all the time when the card type just came out. And I was talking about unions when I'm talking about singular cards, and I was like, I don't even know.
Yeah. And there's the boy. And so either you let this happen, or you use the Frieza counterplay, and you have to warp 2 from the Koizukai.
Oh, that's true. He did Koitsukai here, so that's super clutch. And now he's actually, because like I don't even think we saw a singular one-hit board last game. So now actually so it does double duty in being able to mitigate board now. The removal means that Jeremy here is going to have less combo to be able to play with. I mean, that's what I'm saying. This turn 4 where you're not under the Cell Time Walk ability is going to be massive.
For definite. I've been saying for sure a lot, and I'm becoming aware.
Oh no, guys, he's becoming self-aware. That's such a big hand.
Yeah, you need like a D20 almost. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes. And I think that ties it. So, and then your own Koits, which I guess it stops counter like the Oceanus, right? That's the interaction with Oceanus.
Pretty much, yeah. I think that's the biggest thing that you could look into it. Also helps with cleaning up the hand. We have seen here that Jeremy's kind of in a tough position, so
yeah, having that free cycling, energy, especially going into turn 5, is a pretty good resource for both these decks. Most of their plays are only 1 or 2 energy at a time, so.
So there are a number of swings here that Jeremy could have on his turn, right? So like with his Awaken, if Juan decides that this is enough now, there's the Demigraph swing, there's the leader swing. He could get a D-Bro lead down, he could get a Rosie down, and I think
he's warping the Paragus. Interesting. Why would you not warp the Koits?
It's probably the opponent's choice.
Oh, okay. That is probably 100%. Let me make sure. Let me use my insight. Yeah, okay. Your opponent gets to choose. Okay, that is why. Most of the time he's used it. He's only had 1, so I'm surprised with the choice. But it is Jeremy's choice. All right, big turn 5. Yeah, so this has to be a pretty big turn for Jeremy. And obviously, you'd have to be a little bit afraid of Ocean right now. There's that 2 energy open. He's also got a huge board that even if you use your Cell effect to prevent, things from playing, when you play cards that be played in rest mode, all 3 of those cards can still swing.
Well, you did have the Rosie. You get charged.
And you can pop something with the Deborah as well. Deborah specifically, I always get the ranges mixed up. Deborah says, one of your opponent's battle cards, and then 1 with barrier, and your cost 3 or less. So you can't just pop the 6K if you want.
Yeah, so you could get rid of it if you're worried about it. So removal on that Demigraph is pretty good. He represents a swing. Like it's really tough for it here because we're going into turn 5 where it's looking to be one of the more explosive turns, but Jeremy doesn't have really the board nor hand destruction established at the moment to, I think, take full advantage of what this turn could represent.
Yeah, for sure. For definite. 5 sure. Can I hear a 6 sure? Shout out to chat for making me self-conscious about everything I say now. It's like you're right here in my room with me. Using the quoits, which will prevent any, will not prevent, but will make it expensive to play any of those counterattacks.
Yeah, counteracts to Deborah as well, now that I think about it. So it does mean that the hand destruction that's active on this turn is a little bit less effective.
Mm-hmm.
Using that first, so now he's got 4 energy available to him. He still has the Debro play. He can then awaken afterwards. So I think we're seeing 3 plays. I think that was what he might be landing up to here.
Yeah, and there's the big unison. You can pop something, but just like that Black Smoke Dragon that I totally knew about and didn't just learn about today, it's opponent's choice, so he can just choose not to pop the 6-drop big boy promo, getting it reprinted in a couple weeks, boy.
Mm-hmm.
And dropping an ape. Yep, and that boy.
Yeah, that one right there.
Which is great because I think you want it in your drop area to be able to be played from your Supreme Kai of Time, correct? Which is also chilling right underneath it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think they're just going through the sequencing here, talking about, yeah, okay, and there's the pop, and like you had so expertly predicted, getting rid of the other 6-drop as opposed to the double striker.
Correct. Getting more card advantage there. Oh, there goes the ocean. And I think that's a pretty good pitch because I think even just looking at this board, one, you don't really want to discard cards for quoits to activate it, and 2, there's like maybe 3 more swings coming in, not a huge amount.
No, especially since with the awaken you're going to be at 3 if he opts to do it right now, which I think you should. I do think you want to use the sell ability of making everything come in rested, just because if not, you're giving such an opening. I don't think you want to tap out. I think you want the ability to have Earth-Shattering Kamehamehas available to you defensively. Just because all these swings are going to be 20, 25k big beat stick swings, potentially 30 if Juan decides to overwhelm. So you definitely want to be able to get rid of that line and at least have some energy up to defend what's already on board.
Yep, using the exact same cards to awaken this turn, which is really funny to see. Probably has enough for the Toa Overwhelm. But yeah, swinging into that leader, big 20k double strike. And I believe that Juan only has most of his counterattacks are battle cards. So if he does have like a Goku here, he would have to pitch cards for it. But it looks like he's just 20k double strike and he's using a super combo.
One of the few super combos we actually managed to see this match.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that's the first, if not only one from Juan's side this entire match.
Do have to be getting careful. I think Juan is starting to get into very thin deck territory.
Yeah, there is that Toa. Able to make your leader 20k, you get a free 15k swing, and drop a card from hand. I don't think he's hit any of those trunks, has he? Off of his leader mills either?
No.
Yeah, because that trunks has, what does he say? He
goes right back to hand if it's sent to warp.
Gotcha. Yeah, so free draws are nice.
Free draw. It's a recursive overwhelm if you just need the aggression turn after turn after turn.
Yeah, and it's only from battle area or our deck. If it was drop area, it'd be busted.
Right.
It looks like he's down to 3. Now, what's the play here? I mean, you can. Oh no. Yeah, he's still swinging. Sorry.
So now we're in this position where every swing, represents hand destruction now. So Jeremy is very much incentivized to keep poking at this point because going to 2 puts you in a dangerous position against the Broly Unison. So you definitely want to. Oh, what, 4 cards in deck?
4 cards.
Okay.
Yeah. Man, I bet Jeremy's like, man, if I had an ocean in my deck, I'd be great. I can have like 3 more turns if I wanted to. There's no stopping me.
This is a very precarious position.
Oh, he's not going with the rest everything. He's going with the pop something and drop 1, which I think is
interesting.
Oh, he hit the ocean too. Nice. That's a good hit. Which to me, it just says he has a floodgate in hand.
So, I mean, by now, if Juan wanted to, he must have seen his secret rare, right? Unless it's in life.
What's his secret rare?
It's the Kai. It would deal with the Broly.
Yes, it is. Yes, it would.
I mean, leader swing here removes your clock by an additional turn. This is such a rough position.
Yeah, I don't even know. Like, you could maybe pressure the Broly first because, assumedly, if you have the Boo secret rare, you'd want to play it. But you have to have an active battle. So, but I don't know if you have enough swings or enough time to really do that. Another Paragus. We all see in our super combos this game.
Yep.
We all draw in 2 bomb decking or warping 1. And there's the boy.
There's the secret rare. No more battle card attacks. Pretty good in this position, I do think.
Yeah, probably pretty good.
Right, because like your leader swing.
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing. Juan does have the ability to put cards back into his deck. Not many, but a few. Which means like his leader swing might still actually be live next turn if he decides to bottom deck a couple of things. But like you're effectively turning off your super combos, most notably. Which he's used a couple by now, so it should be fine. But this is such an incredibly tough position to be in because I think if need be, Cell can probably muster up enough defense to be able to survive. Especially.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I think those Supreme Kais of times are not once per turn. So you can just continually do them. Even if you can't play Unisons for the turn, you still can activate the Activate main and just still loop them. Make sure you have cards in deck, but it is scary just seeing 3. Just use a couple Bojack negates and then you're in trouble.
Yeah. But mitigating these types of decisions are what like these players are so incredibly good at doing. And then that's at this high skill level, like, yeah, you're at the brink of death, but that's just how you mitigate your resources. Your life's at 3, your deck's at 3, let's turn on the jets and let's get going.
Yeah. And just passing with all 5 energy open and charging a 6. So this just is super good for Jeremy because you don't have a lot of cards on board, and you can use the minus ability, which maybe he's doing.
I have to imagine you use the time walk here, right? Or like, just because, you had the floodgate in your SCR this turn. Now next turn, that any battle cards that go, you're probably going to be okay with dealing with. So generally, you should be in a position to probably try and win out the turn after.
Yeah, but you just know that. Oh, yeah, it's so tricky because like you want that draw too, but if there's an ocean in hand, that just pretty much says you have 1 less swing this game. But he is doing it.
There's the draw.
And additionally to that, Kai is going to be super powerful. But you normally want to wait until the tapping 1 for.
There's the BMS.
Okay, but that won't stop counterattacks.
No, it really only prevents things like Deborah or the 1-drops that come off of the SR.
Oh, and he's using it early. Which normally you'd really, because no doubt he's got cards in hand that have counterattacks that you can pop and get that little inkling more value, but We'll see. Ooh, and then just getting enough for the Toa. Okay. Additionally, any cards he does play, they are in rest mode, including any counterplays he could have.
Yep. So the beauty of having counterplay or counterattack battle cards is that you can combo them away. That will not be the case here.
I think you probably just swing leader first. So you got 2 double strike swings to go in. And you obviously want to play the ocean the first turn. Because this is probably just going to get Supreme kind of time.
Maybe you could just Oceanus here as well instead of Kai, but okay, so we go Power Burst. Get the Goku representing 2 negates. That's pretty good. Okay, so probably saying here he doesn't have the Oceanus nor the Kai. Because the beauty with Kai is that you do get to save it for like a unison or leader swing and then get rid of a battle card at the same time. All right, here we're probably going to see the Goku. Yep. Comes in rest mode.
Here's like the tricky thing with Style Search too. You have such limited double strikes. Sometimes it's just better to get the double strike in first, and then all of your swings become live. Like normally you want to be like, oh, put him to 3, go down to 2, and then try to double strike him. But you normally want to do the opposite sometimes. It's really, really tricky on how you want to do that. But there is the so that prevents
double strike is live.
Yes. Yeah, that Kai of Time prevents leader and unison card swing. So double strike is not live.
There is a Champa potential though.
Oh, that is true. And once again, most of these decks that run Gogeta Xeno don't have a lot of battle time pops.
Yeah, it's kind of a tap out control in that a lot of what you do is going to be on your own turn. This secret though, if it survives to see the next turn, is going to be so huge. This might actually be kind of why the Goku Negate came out first. Just because like it gives you an extra battle card that if you're, if Jeremy had a position to be able to select it, like force a pop, then he could get rid of it first,
Yeah. Though he did use it early to get the Toa.
True.
I think the better sequencing was probably swing with Boo first, and then get the Goku. Because I mean, Goku doesn't do much. He's not even a 5K combo because
he's literally just there. Can be fusioned away, I guess, is an option. All right, so we're here. I mean, pretty good board. 3 life. You do have 4 attackers available to you in terms of what's already there. So
soon to be 5 if you uptick the PyCon as well.
Yeah, though I do believe this was the turn that Jeremy used his leader ability. I think it's the last time, right? So. All right, there's a super combo, which I think is probably fine because I don't think Juan is currently in a position to super combo.
Yeah, I guess he doesn't lose, but he can't swing, and I don't know. He's probably going to have some Kai to loop back in, so he'll be fine.
I don't think we saw the mill of the Chomp on Juan's side, so at this point, if he hasn't seen it, he's definitely about to see it here on the next draw, unless it's in life. So, keeping that Kai swing for a beefy 50k double strike just on that front could be hugely damaging. So we're looking at 3 or 4 cards. Yeah, so 4 cards here on Jeremy's side. Juan having about 7, 6 from the looks of it. So winning that advantage game there. But Juan locked out of super combos. We know he used 2. He's lost one other one there, and he can't really use the other one at the moment. So.
Yep, and you don't have to be really afraid of that Kai. Normally, you just want to pump and dump that Kai, but you're not really afraid of anything that could be in that cell surge list to pop it early or not make it. So having it be a with Champa a 50k double strike by itself is pretty crazy. They're just with those two cards rather.
Mm.
And there's that uptick on the PyCon, which also gives that that extra boost to that one drop Goku, which is now you actually get some value from it, which is nice.
Yeah, that's pretty cute. I'm not gonna lie, turning into attacker. But there's a death ball. Bye bye
And
Goku.
there it goes. Bye bye advantage. Here's the other question: can you play that Kai? Oh, if that Unison's in play, you can't Kai. You can't cycle the Kais back. So you kind of, I guess, what you can put the Gogeta at the bottom of the deck though.
Yeah, you can do the Gogeta.
Which, oh man, that he should have kept that Mass Saiyan and then. Oh, how tense.
Yeah, this is a really tight position. Like, once again, I think we're at a point where it's like such a small advantage based situation, right? But one where, like, I think because Kai here is going to get rid of the board. So I think you're just in a position where, like, even if you pass on to Cell, unless Jeremy has gas in his hand, it is going to be incredibly tough for him to close out the game. But Juan is at 2, and 2 is a very dangerous position as well. There's the 1-drops. It's going to punish any negates that come out at this point. Not
And
swinging in. Okay.
Yeah, definitely don't. You can't put the the remove from play cards underneath the Surge Leader. That,
yeah, that's yeah. I don't think we can manage that. But okay.
Yeah, that gets a little confusing.
So Juan here, I think in a position of just saying, I don't think you can kill me. Like, is that what I think that's what he's doing? Oh, okay, well that Bardock definitely helps.
that is a good boy. I think that the best you can do is you can take him down to 1 life, so he can't use the leader skill to boost your boys. But yeah, this is a tough position for, once again, both players. It is very tight.
Yeah, so SS Bardock, the Tenacious, overwhelms 6 for 1 black. When it's played using overwhelm, your opponent can only attack with battle cards once during the next turn. So Rosie, a non-factor here almost. I mean, you get the pitch and you get 1 extra attack, but that's going to be it in terms of battle cards.
But we do see 2 of those Rosies chilling in energy with the Broly, 2 Brolys, and we've seen a 3rd Broly. Oof.
Yeah, so I think this is going to be a make it or break it turn here for Jeremy. Just because, we've seen how much Juan is able to put the gas up and, no leader swing unless he starts bottom decking some stuff, but I think that won't be too much of a struggle for this deck to do so.
Okay, well, Black Mass Saiyan is a force.
Champa's still alive here. There's the Rosie. Gonna see it for the hand destruction.
Okay, well.
It's 10k
2 of
combo.
those boys. Yeah.
Which, if there's a Champa in hand, could be hyper relevant. And we do have about 16 minutes on the clock. So it's going to be a very swift game 3 if Jeremy can close this out here.
And just contradicting me immediately again, just being like, oh, these are both fast decks. We'll get to game 3 in 20 minutes. Like, oh my gosh, we've really been commentating for an hour already. It's like, why am I a little tired? And now I'm like, oh. That's why.
So Kai here, pretty sweet. Gets rid of the 5k that Rosie was representing. And now it's on a leader swing. And, I mean, technically, I guess a Demigra is possible. All right, taking the life. Yeah, use the extra card because this is probably going to be game if you're not able to close out here. And
well, those are both those boys are going to be 25k with a combination of the PyCon and the leader effect. So you kind of want to get that extra damage, but it's going to be pretty hard caught to do it.
Yeah, I think Jeremy here, I think weighing his options, and I think if Jeremy passes here, it's pretty much game. I mean, we have enough advantage on board by itself to probably close it out. But we'll see. We'll see what they do. Just combos away the Kai, calling it there, and that's a pass. All right.
You can't swing with leader, so that's
So far,
That's fine. Yeah.
it's okay. All right, so let's see whose advantage will outweigh here. Reminder, guys, that this is not over. Jeremy will not be done no matter what happens on this turn. Anything could happen still. But these players are playing out in a pod structure, and then the top 2 from every pod will be making it over to the finals.
Yes, and this is the first game of the weekend. We've got, what, 11 more over the next 36 hours. So a lot more Dragon Ball Super. We are streaming every ding dang match that is going on this weekend. So you guys will miss nothing, and it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah. You guys will be seeing every single match of every group stage, and these players will be coming back. Jeremy here going down to a singular life, and let's see what advantage that he can pull through.
So he's actually going to use the -3 on the Pycon, which is great because you're able to not only play that Union, but then you can also use a Kai to put a card to the bottom of your deck so you can actually swing with your leader. See, and also that big boy too would be able to prevent that. So where do you think he's swinging? You think he's swinging leader on top of
you just swing leader. You just force him to have it. Every swing is cards out of his hand here. I mean, super combo was pretty nice, not gonna lie, but you just start swinging leader. You're at 1 life. All right, you better have a good hand, because at this point I'm just gonna make sure you have it.
Yeah, now it's gonna do the Kai play. It's taken me an hour, but I think I finally have this Gogeta Xeno deck understood. Which is good because there's probably like 3 or 4 other people playing this deck.
I would imagine it's probably a popular pick moving on to this tournament.
Yeah, because I think across the world, 3 of these players won with Gogeta Xeno. 3 Higher Dragons, a Hatch, an Android 16, and
a Cell Surge as well. Yeah.
So maybe only 2 Higher Dragons.
All right, the leader ability here, giving the 1-drops extra 10k, threatening for 15k swings now.
And comboing away the Rosie. So if you're a Mad Lad, you can swing here, combo away your entire hand, then you can use your Gogeta effect, play your 2 boys, and then sure, you lose your hand, but then you're gonna lose it anyways. But I guess you kind of need combo power for those boys now.
You could kind of just combo out here, and then who cares? You can't warp anything anyways, and then you get more stuff.
Well, comboing away that Gogeta Xeno, interesting. Ooh, a Cell here.
They're shattering good. And that's what I'm saying, right? Jeremy has some very good quality cards here that represent a lot of combo. Could force out some awkward positions here. Well, there's the Overwhelm. He was probably super banking on that, which might actually be why he was comboing the way he was.
Oh, yeah, I think that's a really good call. He probably didn't have the Overwhelm for it.
So what's the 1 card he has in hand?
I still wouldn't be too afraid. You could still, pop your Gogeta Union, get the 2 cards on board just for the combo power. You lose the 1 card in hand. Yeah, that looks like what he's doing. You also now have the card in your deck, so you can actually draw for your leader swing.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is having the leader swing available. Now, I think that's basically it, right? Like, Jeremy has whatever he top decks, which is that last card in his deck before he bottom decks something else. And 10k combo, so we're swinging here for at least 25k. It's going to be a 25k swing, but...
And the other thing... Oh, actually, never mind. I was thinking he could play the Kai to get the Pycon out, but Pycon can't swing. You need that extra marker.
Ah, it's a double strike chomp. I see.
Oh, yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, there goes the Kai.
And really just for more card draw. Because you get to play the Unison, pop it, and draw 1.
All right. Here's the Unison. We're gonna get a draw. Right, because he has to look for a demon and then draw.
Yes.
And And then swing with the leader, draw, combo out, and see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. Best case, he's got 35k, so he has to get to 40k. So, which is possible, just a Paragus and a whatever else.
He almost thought about combo on his hand, but then considered otherwise. And yeah, we're just gonna combo it out. So here we're looking at a 30. Yeah.
Sorry, I was gonna say shocking death ball, but hopefully the Discord delay on that one.
Yeah, and that's it. And that is game 25k. Yeah.
No, 30. It's 30 with the Soto.
Yeah. Yep. Wow.
Super close.
Wow, and that is our first match of the day. Juan Soto taking it down versus Jeremy. An absolutely incredible first match.